Hello YouTube. Welcome back to the Bison Workshop. I'm Bob. Today we're going to try to beat the rain. Looks like it's going to rain again. It's been raining so damn much here that our creek almost overflowed. Anyway, what I did, I couldn't think of the cheapest way to do this except for to go get boards, fencing boards, privacy fence boards, and this is called the dog ear look, I think, and they're $1.68 a piece. I needed 11, so I got 15 just in case I want one or one broke or whatever, because they are pretty knotty. And that's about the cheapest deck I can find, and that's going to do the sides and the floor. But because it was going to require such a little bit on each end, and it was going to throw this one here off of this, so I couldn't put it on there. I'll show you what I'm talking about. So basically, if I was to put these together like that, this would have left that much to go for the sides to go down on. Well, I'd like for the sides to go flush down onto this and not down into here, because I could make it so that the side would, let's imagine that the side's already built. That would have put it down in there like that. But if anything was ever to catch, get down in there like gravel or something like that, you'd have a hard time getting this off. And it would be a little rough on it. So I would like for it to set flat on it like that, so that less gets in between there. So I decided to do it this way. And remember, I wanted to do the 66 forward look. So that's what we're going to do. What I did was, remember that old boat I took apart? If anybody remembers the boat, I got the trim off of it. And they were, I think that was a 14-foot boat. And this was trimmed that went down both sides of it. And you got it that shape. And what we're going to do is, this is designed to put a piece of rubber in it. And yes, I do have the rubber that goes in it, but we don't want to use that part. We really only want this. It would be ideal to just cut that lip off right there, make it the same as that side, and bolt it down flat side up. And 45 the edge of each one of these boards and put it down on there. But because when I go to tighten one of these down, it's going to slide one board in the wrong direction. So instead of doing that, I decided to turn it up this way and put it on there. And we're going to be minus the width of one of these, because that's going to set right down on the edge of this. So I measured those at 60 inches. So once I get this bolted down, that's going to push down on it, and we'll put a screw in right there on each one of these beams, and that will hold that down. So we're going to do that on all four of them. But remember, we're going to cut that lip there off and just grind it off, and then it'll go down a little flatter. So now once I've got all these bolted down, then I can take and mash these over to where they're flat. So basically once we've got that on there, we can take and just flatten that down. And that'll keep dirt and stuff and rocks from getting down in this section right here, in these little grooves. So what we're going to do is we're going to just trim that off, bolt it down, flatten both sides of that to where it's meeting down with this, and that's all I'm going to do. Now I may take and route out a groove that's a little bit, to make this a little bit proud of the wood. We might go that route, but we're going to see what it looks like when it's clamped down and this is flattened down, and see how low profile it is. I'm not really too awful concerned if it's a little high. Because I really don't want a lot of places for sand or dirt or anything like that to be able to rest in. Because as time goes on, that dirt gets a little bit rotten and starts rotting in the wood. Well, we're dealing with treated lumber, so we've got that on our side. And once these boards dry and stuff, then I can just stain them, sand them and stain them. And I'm not worried about doing a whole lot of sanding, just enough to kind of even it out. And then we'll cut these off. And I'm going to use a metal, I'm going to build me a metal tailgate. I'm pretty sure I have enough material around here to do that. And we still got to put our pole holders that this will slide, the sides will slide down into. So we're going to have this one, and this one. Same thing on the other side, and 2 in the front. I might do 3 in the front, I don't know. It probably wouldn't be a bad idea to do 3 in the front. Because if you put something in there heavy and it gets up against the front, it's going to push the front middle out. So we want to try to reinforce the center of all these sides and the front. And that should put the sides, by the time I put the sides on it, it should put it exactly even with the front edge of the tire, with maybe about the flat part of this, not the tread part. The tread would be underneath the sides, so that would make the wheel just a little proud of it, so it kind of makes it look right. It's uniform, so to speak. And I think that's a pretty good plan. So let me go ahead and get these boards cut down and decide whether we're going to, if we feel like cleaning off the table saw we might go ahead and just route us probably 3/16 of a groove deep. We'll see. Alright, so now what we got to do is figure out a way to grind this down. We want to be able to hold it. What I'm going to do, take this 2x6 and I'm going to set this right on top of that, and I'm going to put 2 screws in it, one here and one here. Then I'm going to clamp this in the vise, and then we're going to take and grind that down, and hopefully it doesn't take too much to do that. I don't want to work on this thing forever, but I got to grind that edge off because that edge is higher than this one, so it's going to put it in there at lopsided. We want it to be flat, so that when we flatten these over, you got this the flattest it's going to go, and nothing's going to get in between here. So we're not worried about this little screw area because that'll just sweep out. So we'll meet you at the vise. Alright, so now we've got our board in the vise. Now we're going to take and mount this down. Just somewhere around there. Alright, now we're going to take the grinder, after I cover my lathe, don't really want to put a whole lot of aluminum shavings all over it. Alright, so now we're going to take the grinder, change the disc, and see how abrasive it is on this disc. So we'll get to grinding. Alright guys, I did a test on this wood with just old used motor oil, and this is rough. I never sanded anything on that, but these I made to be spacers between each board on each joist. So I've got 4 joists and 4 different places to put these. So that's how they're going to be right there. Alright, these are going to be in between each boards and on each joist. So we're going to take a little bit of used motor oil. Yes, I said used motor oil. Black as I can get it. We want to stain this at the same time. So, who said you can't use oil for other things? And it helps condition your brush. So we're just going to brush each one of these. Soak them real good. Alright, so now we've got all of our spacers. Now what I did, I took these over to the sander, the belt sander, and I belt sanded the tops and the bottoms to make them thinner than the actual boards, so that when we go to tighten down the centerpiece, it's going to clamp. It's going to act as a clamp or a vise to the boards to hold them in place. So these are a little thinner than the actual boards, and they're oil soaked, and these are all going to be my spacers. I've got my boards cut, and you've seen the how I did the aluminum strips that goes over top of these, and as soon as I get finished with all those, we'll go ahead and start putting her together. That will end this part of the deck. So I'm going to spread them around and let them dry a little bit more so I can go ahead and sand them boards. And I've got 2 more aluminum rails to grind, and I'm going to tell you, getting that lip off was not easy. See, I got that lip off of that, and it doesn't really matter what the backside looks like. Then I got to take and polish them up a little bit, and probably steel wool them and clean them up. Maybe we might polish them, I don't know. And then we'll mount these on. Once we've got it mounted, then we'll just take our hammer, whichever one's going to work. We might have to use a board. Just imagine this being a 2x4. We'd have to take and put that on there and tap it until this here is all the way down, just like you would a carpet strip. So we're not going to put anything in there, simply because, yeah, I've got some of that rubber stuff that can go in there to hide the screws, but it's going to get tore up every time you put rocks in it or something. So it'll be fine just the way it is. And we're going to countersink the screws, so if anything does get in these holes, it'll go all the way down past the screws because they'll be countersunk. So that's the plan. I just hope that these holes will line up where I need them to, so we can try to make all these uniform. Anyway, that will end this part of the garden trailer build. I've got 2 more lips to take off, a little bit of sanding to do, and then I got to paint them boards exactly the way I did these. And the next video, we will start at being out there at the trailer putting it together. So I hope you guys enjoyed this. I hope it helps give you guys ideas on how to do things. You know, them spacers are free. It's going to help keep my boards apart and at the same exact location. So if I ever need to replace a board, it's as simple as go to Lowe's, get a 6-foot fencing board, cut it down to size, slide it in there, and put your spacer in it, screw your aluminum piece down, and you're done. So, like I said, I got 2 more of these to do, and that'll get her. Anyway, you guys have a good one. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. All of them. Later.